All right, and once we're done with general setup, now let's start coding. And the first thing that I want to create is the landing page. And essentially, that is going to be the page that the user sees if he or she is not logged in. So we have the URL and then /landing, and then we navigate to register. And let me just go back and cover a few things before we start coding. First, what you will see over here is the zoom level of 175 in my browser. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because sometimes my result might look a little bit different than yours. And again, that is because of the zoom level. And I can easily control it. And usually it's between 150 and 175. Now, also starting from this video, there's going to be way more code examples. And when it comes to Markdown, for some people, it might be hard to read like this. So in order to make it easier, there's actually an extension that previews a Markdown. And the name of the extension is following. So you're looking for Markdown Preview. Once you install this extension, what you can do is just right click. And then notice we have Markdown Preview option. And then I'm just going to move it over here. And this is going to be my file. So essentially, you can take your README and run it through the extension, and you'll see this result. Or basically, the code examples just are easier to read. Now, again, this is optional. If you don't want to do that, you can keep on reading the README as it is. But in my case, I'm going to use this extension. I'm just showing you where you can get one. Then I also want to mention that, of course, we will set up React Router because we have single page application as well as styled components. So this initial landing page is going to be pretty ugly. This is just to get something on the screen. Otherwise, we can talk about the general setup for another hour. And basically, I want you to create a pages directory in the source. For now, just set up one page, landing.js, even though we will change this around a little bit. And then I want you to set up the component, and I'll show you what extension I'm using to create components very, very quickly. Add some kind of basic return. In my case, I'm going to go with heading 4 with landing page. And as you can see here, I have a small typo where this should be heading 4. I can save it and notice right away I can see the correct one in my preview. Then import logo SVG and main SVG. So this is going to be logo in the assets, in the images more specifically. And then this is going to be the main one. And then just import landing in app.js and render it. And then resume the video and I'll show you how I placed everything in my page. So let's get cracking. Where effectively, first, I guess I just want to go to a source and then create pages directory. So pages. And like I said, let's start with just simple landing.js. Landing and JS. Now inside of it, in order to create a component, a very, very nifty extension is this one, the snippets one. So ES7, React, Redux, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to cover all the snippets that I offer because, of course, there's way too many. But the idea is that basically, if I want to have a component, I just type such and such, and I get the full-blown component. So let me go back to a landing. And prior to React 18, usually what I did is something like this, where you go with RFCE, which just creates a functional component. And as a side note, you can also create with an arrow function. So that one was RF, and I believe it was RAFCE, like so. So this is going to be the same component, same as the file name, but in this case, it is a arrow function. Now, starting with React 17, or I'm sorry, I said before React 18 when I'm talking about this React 17. Starting with React 17, we actually don't need to import React anymore in the components. So if you want to omit this import, what you can do with this extension is just go with underscore. And by the way, that's not what I wanted. So we want to go with underscore, and then we go with RAFCE FCE. So essentially, what this does, it creates the component, it doesn't import React, and we right away export this as default. And this definitely has been that extension that saves a lot of time on typing out the boilerplate. A quick side note, in the latest extension version, the underscore option is not supported anymore. So if you don't want to have React import at the top, you'll need to go to settings instead. And you can get there by clicking on a cog. And then more specifically, you're looking for the settings, or of course you can use the shortcut, then type React snippets and look for this checkbox. So it says here, import React on top, and make sure that it is unchecked. And once you do that, the result is going to be the same, where you won't have that React import at the top. Then we want to import our two images, like I said. So both of them are sitting right here. So we have the assets, then more specifically images, and we're looking for logo SVG and main SVG. So those are the two things that we need to import. So let's go up here on the top, and then let's start our imports. We'll just go with import. I'm going to call this logo from, and then let's go to assets here, then images, and then we're looking for logo SVG, logo.svg. Then let's copy and paste, and I'm just going to say here main. That's going to be my main image, and the name of the file is main SVG. And like I said, let's start with very basic return, where we're going to go with heading 4, and let's just say landing page. And once all of this in place, then we want to navigate to app.js and then essentially set up our landing page. So let's go here. Let's say import. We're looking for landing from the landing pages, and let's just set it up as a div so we can still have that heading 1, because there's going to be some changes here anyway. So let's go here. Let's leave for now, I guess, the heading 1 before we have done anything. And then let's render the landing 1. Now I want to set up a proper return, and we should see the Jobify as well as the landing page.